Good afternoon, and welcome into the Sanders Sports Show live here on Spreaker.com. I'm here every day, 1 p.m. Pacific Time, Monday through Friday. Got an interesting show for you today. We're going to talk a little bit about A-Rod here in a minute. We're going to talk about the Lakers actually on a winning streak. We're going to talk a little bit more about the NBA, NHL, as well as keeping our MLB previews going with the Oakland A's today. Today's been an interesting day. Well, yesterday I reported, and I'm sure you've heard, Ray Lewis was linked to this Deer Antler Velvet Extract spray that seems to be making the rounds out in the sports. And there's been a few people that have come out, or that have been linked to this since that report on Ray Lewis came out yesterday. Actually, golfer Vijay Singh actually came out and said that he has unknowingly used this drug, IGF-1, which is a form of HGH. At least that's the way the NFL sees it, because they have this on their banned substance list. Hence why Ray Lewis, I wouldn't say he's in trouble, because like I said yesterday, there's not really anything they can do with Ray Lewis. Because Ray, he's retiring after Sunday. It's his last game. What punishment could they really do to him? Suspend him next year? Okay. I ain't going to play. We knew that going in. This Deer Antler Velvet Extract spray, all of a sudden, is the biggest story right now. And no one ever heard of it until yesterday. At least nobody in the public. Sounds like a lot of people knew about it in football programs, including college. Christopher Key, who owns a company called SWATs, told ESPN's Joe Schad on Wednesday that he personally witnessed 5 Alabama players use the spray prior to the national championship this year. He actually said 20 players purchased it. He only witnessed 5 of them actually using it. Not this year, sorry, not the Notre Dame game. Last year against LSU. Sold about 20 more bottles to players at the apartment of an Alabama player 10 days before the game as well. What this does, and I've been looking into it a little bit. That's what I do. I'm studying to go into radio. I have to research my stories, so of course I'm going to research this. And I came across some interesting things. This IGF-1 hormone drug, whatever you want to call it, it's in some of the most popular supplements that are out there. One of them being muscle milk, which you can buy at any GNC or Vitamin World. It might be a small dosage, but it's in there. And we all know just how little bit of something you need to use before you're busted. Just ask Mark McGuire. Now, this is going back to the question from yesterday. Is it time to start taking some of this stuff off of the banned list? Because this is something that's in supplements, even the most popular ones. Has anyone really done anything wrong? Again, researching more. This supplement, IGF, stimulates the addition of muscle. It stimulates the re-adding of muscle if you're injured. It gives you more energy, makes you feel less tired, which Alabama players have bragged about after the game against LSU. So you look at that side of it, there's good and bad. I mean, there's good, you get to heal faster, but are you healing properly? Because who knows, you could just come right back out and re-tear that tricep if you're Ray Lewis. Granted, he hasn't yet, but he could. Ray Lewis, like I said, he basically got away with murder if he did do this knowingly and actually wanted to basically cheat. He could have done this no matter what, because he knew there was no time for him to go through all the appeals. He would still play Sunday no matter what. But what about these other players in Alabama? What about Vijay Singh on the PGA Tour? What about anyone else who has been linked to this? There's been studies there. There's been admissions from players at LSU, Alabama, Florida, Auburn. And this guy Key has received cease and desist letters from these schools to not talk to their players and not sell them this spray, which Key has basically said, you can't tell me not to talk to these players. You can't, which really he can't. Alabama said in a statement issued Tuesday night that UA has been aware of this situation for some time, and we have monitored this company for several years. They have twice ignored cease and desist letters sent by our compliance office. We have maintained consistent education of our student athletes regarding the substances in question, and will continue to do so. So Alabama knew that they were doing this, that their players were on this, and they have done nothing so far. This is banned in the NFL. Everything I've seen in here, this IGF-1 is also banned in the NCAA. Now we're coming to a really critical time here. If all this is true, especially with the other schools all in the same conference now, and this is this power conference, the SEC, is there going to be punishments? Is there going to be sanctions? We all know how sanction happy the NCAA is. You get a tattoo for a jersey, you get sanctioned. Your parents get an apartment in an SUV, you get sanctioned. You don't think those sanctioned schools for becoming stronger and more energetic? I don't see them turning a blind eye, even though it is the SEC and this is the NCAA's baby child right here, basically. I will say that. They cater to the SEC, you can't deny they do. I'm at a loss for words, actually, in a lot of this, because there's just so much coming in about this new information, and a lot of it having to do with Alabama, who's won 3 of the last 4 championships, could possibly three-peat this year. Actually, very strong favorites to three-peat this year. And what of this IGF-1? Are you going to tell players not to take any supplements? Because the few supplements I've looked at, both on GNC.com, Vitamin World, also private sellers, it's in there. It's in, like I said, Muscle Milk, which is one of the most popular ones that I've seen. If you take that and you get tested for it, which, by the way, the NFL, they have banned the substance, but they don't test for it. Why? Because the only test there is a blood test, and they don't do blood tests for drug tests, which I don't understand that. If it's banned, why don't you test for it? If you're not going to test for it, it shouldn't be banned. But the fact of the matter is, it is banned. If you're caught using it, you deal with the consequences. The thing that is different with this, Ray Lewis, yes, he's going to get off scot-free. It's these kids at Alabama, Auburn, Florida, LSU, all these schools. I'm sure there's more schools. These are the ones that have come out so far. They've been primarily SEC. Actually, they're all SEC that have come out so far. I'm sure there's more. But as of right now, I have to pick on them because they've been named. And because this company is in Alabama. SWATs. Christopher Key also goes on to claim that nothing he offers these players will make them fail a drug test. What gets me is the players are bragging about having more energy and not being tired. That's what gets me, because that right there, if you say you take something and you aren't feeling tired after a game, and you're feeling even more energetic than before the game started, or however he put it, if you have any energy at all like that, that's going to sound like a steroid to me. It is natural. It's in this deer that's in New Zealand. This gene, or this extract, comes from the antlers of this deer. These antlers are the fastest growing things on Earth, which is why people use it, so that they can grow back their muscles, grow back any injured part of them that there is. It's natural, yes, But if he gives you an unfair advantage over somebody who's not using it, that would be a form of cheating in my eyes. Now, it could be just because this school has the proper channels to go get this stuff. Is Alabama just throwing out that statement to have deniability that their players were doing it? I mean, Alabama admitted they knew they were doing it, but they haven't done anything about it yet. Does that tell you that they were encouraging it? Were they trying to stop it? Or are they just sitting back and trying to turn a blind eye? Who knows what they're doing? It's going to be a really interesting time when if there are any sanctions coming out, if there's going to be any punishments at all coming out, if there's going to be scholarships taken away, postseasons given up, there's going to be anything done at all. In one of my groups, we have this discussion actually quite a bit. Should stuff like this be legal? I asked that question yesterday. Is it time that we just allow it all in? Allow HGH, allow this new IGF-1. Should we allow this? I didn't really get any responses yesterday, but I'm going to ask it again. With everything that's come out, especially about this IGF-1 drug, should we allow it? Should this be allowed in all sports? Want to hear from you? Of course, right here on the Spreaker.com page. Also going to my YouTube channel now, youtube.com/SandersD84. On Facebook at facebook.com/Sanders Sports Show. Also on iTunes, just search for Sanders Sports Show. You can leave me comments on there as well. And of course on Twitter at SandersD84. Leave me some messages. Let me know what you think. And I'll get back to every single one of them. Go from one drug scandal to another. This one actually involves actual HGH, allegedly. Talked about yesterday about A-Rod being linked to another steroid scandal. Now, A-Rod, of course, admitted to steroids and using steroids 2001 to 2003, which he already tarnished that. I mentioned that yesterday. To me, he's already tarnished. He's not going in the hall. Now he has a second scandal up where he's being linked to this Florida company that has been investigated for quite a while. He's not the only name on the list, though. There was 5 names released. A-Rod, Melky Cabrera, Nelson Cruz, Gio Gonzalez, and Bartolo Colon by the Miami New Times of this anti-aging clinic in Miami, and linked to a man named Anthony Bosch, who is also linked to Manny Ramirez. Yankees have a choice to make here, and it's a shame that the CBA, that the MLB and the MLBPA agreed to, I believe it was 2007, 2008 is when they re-upped it. And I think this needs to be something that needs to be talked about the next time the CBA comes up, is that the Yankees, I'm not a Yankee fan at all. I will admit that to everyone. Despise the Yankees. I don't think it's fair that they may have to take a cap hit here or some sort of punishment to release a guy like A-Rod. He has 5 years, $114 million left on his contract. I don't think A-Rod's going to play in New York anymore. I don't think he's going to play at all anymore, actually. Not in the U.S. anyways. He could probably go to Japan and try to play. I don't see him playing here anymore, though. And it's not so much about the drug thing. This is his second major hip surgery in his career. Even when he gets activated, he's going to miss another 50 games probably due to this punishment, along with the other players that have been named. They're going to be hitting their punishments. I think Bartolo's will be 100, though, because he got suspended last year for 50 games. Unless this is the same ban. Unless it's the same instance that he was banned for, and everything else is just now coming out. But according to sources, the league does not allow teams to discipline players beyond the 50-game ban. That includes terminating contracts. I don't see why they shouldn't be able to release him. I have a friend in one of my Facebook groups. He is a huge Yankees fan, supported them for all his life, just like I've supported my Angels. He even thinks A-Rod should be gone. He says it'll be a favor to the Yankees if they get rid of A-Rod, which it's not far from the truth. He's more of a hindrance. He hasn't produced, especially in the postseason. I think of all the postseasons that he's played, I think he's produced in one. Melky Cabrera just signed with Toronto on that super team up there. Signed a $16 million free agent contract. He's probably going to be getting 50 games. He's mentioned 14 times in these records that the Daily Times of Miami put out. Now, actually, he's probably going to end up getting 100 games as well because he's already been suspended once as a member of the Giants. He has enough meds until May 4th, the paper cites, including what the paper terms a cocktail of drugs, including, once again, that hormone comes back, IGF-1. Also banned by the MLB. It's banned by pretty much every major sports outlet. Every player on this so far has denied it persistently. So until more information comes out, I mean, of course you're going to deny it. That seems to be the way things are. Deny first, ask for forgiveness later. After your time is set, you made your money, you've done your numbers, whatever. You're there to play, get your rings. I don't agree with that philosophy if you've screwed up, especially when you're caught screwing up. Don't try and deny it. Don't try and pass it off until the end of your career and hope that you get forgiveness from the public, because if Lance Armstrong is any example of how the public is going to see somebody who lied to them, it's not going to be pretty for you. Alex Rodriguez, at the very least, could be back by the All-Star game from the recovery from the surgery off the DL. We'll see what happens at that time. Enough talk about the drug scandals. We're going to take a quick break. After the break, you're going to hear from a familiar voice about winning streaks here on the Standard Sports Show on Spreaker.com.
All right, you guys, let's listen up. We won a game yesterday. If we win one today, that's 2 in a row. We win one tomorrow, that's called a winning streak. It has happened before. So let's see some hustle. Let's jack it up a little. I got a feeling things are about to turn around for us.
God, I hope that's what Mike D'Antoni said in the Lakers locker room on Sunday when they won their second in a row. It's true. The Lakers are on a 3-game winning streak. Welcome back in. This is the Standard Sports Show on Spreaker.com. Of course, we are going to talk about the Lakers now. I mentioned that they were on a winning streak yesterday of 2 games. I had to use that because one of my friends in my Facebook group put this clip up. I had to play it because it's true. You do need 3 games to have a streak. Are you happy now, Chris? They got that 3-game winning streak, beating the Hornets last night very handily. Kind of ticked off one of their main players, though, Pau Gasol. You know, I have to agree with Pau. He is getting the short end of the stick here. I don't care how good Earl Clark is doing. Hell, if Jordan Hill was healthy, I wouldn't care how he's doing. Pau Gasol is one of your main guys. He's basically been relegated to a 6-man position. Some of the best 6 men are out there. James Harden is out there for the Rockets when they need him in the last 5, 6, 7 minutes of the game. Why isn't Pau Gasol? Pau last night going off. I'll get to that more here in a minute. First, we're going to talk a little bit about Kobe. Here's something you never thought you would hear. Over the last 3 games, here's Kobe's assists total. 14, 14, 11. Would you think you would ever heard Kobe Bryant having 39 assists in 3 games, averaging about 13 assists a game. After all the jokes we had about him being a ball hog, all that fun we had, all of a sudden he's passing the ball, and look what they've done. They've won 3 in a row. Now, I will say this. They've won 3 in a row. They were at home. Tonight they start a new road trip, 4 games. Start off with the Suns. Steve Nash going back to Phoenix. That's the big storyline. Lakers are 5-15 on the road. I see them probably winning tonight, extending the streak to 4. I don't see them winning anything else after that. Was Kobe passing the ball? Was that the change that was needed? Not necessarily getting rid of Dwight, but Kobe passing the ball more, getting him a chance. Now you look at the stats. Lakers are just 1-13. That's 1 win, 13 losses. When Bryant tallies 3 assists or fewer, but 6-1 when he drops 8 or more. Proof is right there. Kobe passes the ball, they win. Kobe shoots the ball, they lose. Lakers are 5-20 when Kobe fires 22 or more field goal attempts. 9-1 when he goes for 15 or fewer. How has he not seen this until now? I mean, I'm glad that he did. You don't want to take all of his shots away from him, but you have other weapons, especially now. You have Powell, you have Dwight, you have Nash, you have Meta. And you look at the numbers, they're there. Lakers are behind 933 minutes this year, averages 30 points a game, they lose. Lakers are ahead, 701 minutes. Kobe scores 22 points a game. Kobe is finally learning at almost 34 years old to pass the ball on a regular basis. Will he keep this up? That remains to be seen. I hope he does. Again, not a Lakers fan. I'm mainly wanting the Lakers to win this year because of one man, Steve Nash. Followed his career since he was drafted in Phoenix. He deserves a ring more than anybody out there, in my opinion. He's gotten the short end of the stick a few times. He needs that ring, and he deserves it. This is his best chance to get one. They need to step it up. If that means Kobe takes 10 shots a game, so be it. If that means you get 20 assists a game, so be it. Kobe's new nickname has become the facilitator because he's facilitating points, opportunities. Some say this isn't really Kobe Bryant, that's someone in a Kobe mask playing as him. If that's the case, so what? I said Lakers did win last night. Wasn't by much, but they won. That's all that matters. All you need to do is win by 1. Pau Gasol, though, wasn't too happy about being relegated to the bench. Can't blame him there. I don't see why you would put one of your best scorers, one of your best defenders also, on the bench with 5 minutes to go. What I was saying all last week and even a little bit this week, trade Dwight, I don't think that's happening anymore. As much as I still see him as a problem, because, yeah, they're winning, they're all sunshine, happiness, and rainbows right now. But as soon as they start losing again, they'll be back to him grabbing stat sheets, being passive-aggressive, saying, oh, well, I guess I just need to try harder, while holding up a stat sheet when you have 5 field goal attempts. He'll still be a problem, whereas Powell wouldn't be, but I think Powell will be gone now. Lakers did win last night, 111-106. Other games, Warriors beat the Cavs, 108-95. Speaking of the Cavs, they are in talks now. They're in the mix of getting Greg Oden, former number 1 overall pick, as their center, which I'm kind of torn on this. Not as torn as his knees are, but sorry, had to do a cheap shot there. Greg Oden is one of the biggest busts in NBA history, and to have him coming back at this stage, I hope he does. I mean, he was a great player in Ohio State. And so was Yurt Solinger. But think about this, if you will. They've done this twice now. They took Sam Bowie over Michael Jordan. Then they took Greg Oden over Kevin Durant. How much different would the Blazers be if they would have picked the other person? A debate that will rage on forever, I'm sure. But Greg Oden coming back to the Cavs. He's also been linked to the Miami Heat, coming in and being their backup center. I could kind of see him working more on the Heat than on the Cavs. Because then, like I said, he would be backup. I think with the Cavs, they would try and start him. Because they need everything they can get right now. The Cavs are horrible. 13-33, 6-13 at home. They lost to the Warriors last night, 108-95. Milwaukee beat Detroit 117-90. And the Blazers squeaked out against the Mavericks 106-104. Tonight, a huge mess of games, 12 games on the docket, including the Lakers and the Suns. That's over on ESPN tonight, 10:30 Eastern. Raptors on the road against the Hawks. Wizards play the Sixers. Detroit and Indiana. Sacramento at Boston. Orlando and New York. Chicago and Milwaukee. Miami travels to Brooklyn. Face the Nets. That's the early game on ESPN at 8 Eastern. Clippers over the Timberwolves, Bobcats and the Spurs, Rockets and the Nuggets, and the Hornets and the Jazz. It's pretty good matchups tonight. Definitely be catching that Lakers game, probably the Heat Nets game as well, over on ESPN. Really quickly, we'll dive into a few hockey scores real quick. There was a kind of a big story. Rangers captain Ryan Callahan was injured during a fight last night. Looks like he's going to be out 4 to 6 weeks with shoulder injury. How often do you see that, though? I mean, usually they don't get injured in the fights. It's usually something else. But that's going to be a big miss for them. He's one of their best players. Hope he comes back soon and healthier than ever. I still have the Rangers coming out of the East in the NHL. I would love to see my Ducks come out of the West, but I doubt it. There's some strong teams out there. The Wild being one of them. They stacked up their teams. The Blues are actually pretty good for once. I don't think they'll do much, but they're good. Turning to the scores last night, Sharks beat the Ducks last night in a shootout. Sharks are 6-0-0. I think they're the last team without a loss at all, including shootout losses. Bruins beat the Devils 2-1 in a shootout. A few shootouts last night. There was a lot of overtime yesterday. Maple Leafs beat the Sabres in overtime 4-3. Rangers over the Flyers 2-1. Canadiens over the Jets 4-3. Senators over the Capitals 3-2. Islanders over the Penguins 4-1. Lightning over the Panthers 5-2. Wild beat the Blue Jackets 3-2. Red Wings over the Stars 4-1. Tonight only 4 games going on. Canadiens play the Senators, Blackhawks and the Wild. Blackhawks are also 6-0-0. Avalanche at the Canucks, and Oilers go down to the desert to face the Coyotes. Gonna take a quick break here. When we come back, we're gonna continue our 30 teams in 30 days preview with the Oakland A's right here on the Sanders Sports Show on Spreaker.com. Welcome back in. This is the Sanders Sports Show. I'm Dave Sanders, your host. I just want to thank you for making the show a part of your day. However you're listening to us, either on Spreaker, on iTunes, or on Facebook. I appreciate you taking the time out and being here today. I started out this week with the AL West, doing team-by-team previews of the upcoming season. We're all the way up to Oakland and the A's. Just a little preview. Tomorrow's the Mariners, and Friday will be the Rangers. On the AL West week. Next week it'll be the AL Central. Following week, AL West. Then I'll get into the NL in a couple weeks' time. Today, talking about the Oakland A's, the only team that scares the heck out of me as an Angels fan. Oakland A's last year came out of nowhere, winning the West with a 94-68 record. Went on to lose to the Tigers, though, but they made it to the playoffs. And they did it the same way they did it earlier in the 2000s. Moneyball Part 2. And just looking over their roster, they haven't really made too many more additions. They got Scott Sizemore at second base now, which I have to wonder what's happening with Jamel Weeks now. If he's going to move. I mean, they have a great shortstop in Hiroki Nakajima. Yoenis Cespedes is probably their biggest name they have right now. He was a rookie last year. This guy's going to be a superstar. So you got Coco out in center, Josh Reddick out in right. And they got a great team. John Jaso, a catcher. I am legitimately scared of this team if I was an Angels fan, which I am an Angels fan. Now we talked about the Astros on Monday. They're going to get beat up by all four of these teams regularly. I mean, they get, I think, 12 games apiece against the Astros. There's 12 wins pretty much. I'll give the Astros maybe 1 or 2 wins against each of them, maybe. Pitchers and catchers of the A's report on the 11th. First spring training games is the 23rd against Milwaukee. Basic question here, can they repeat? And if they keep playing the way they're playing with the Moneyball mentality, I think they could repeat as AL West champions. As much as I don't want to admit that, I think they could. Will they? This year, I don't think they will. I think they'll be a wild card this year. I'll give them 90 wins. I'll go 90-62 for their final record. I won't give them the West, though. I think the Angels will take the West. A's will be second. Rangers will be right behind, probably in third. They'll be over 500. But they won't make the playoffs. But the A's, there's not much I can say about them besides they'll just sneak up on you. I mean, I think they won, 17 or 18 in a row last year? Against good teams, too. I had a buddy, I worked at Buffalo Wild Wings last year. I had a buddy who was a regular there that I became friends with, and he was a huge A's fan. We would argue. I mean, I worked Monday nights. Usually that's when they started the series against the Angels, so of course we did our trash talking. It was at the time where the A's were just beating everybody up. Didn't matter who you were. It could be the Angels, could be the Yankees, could be the Rays, could be the Blue Jays, could be the Orioles, could be anybody. A's seemed to have everybody's number last year. I don't know if they'll be able to continue that this year. Starting pitcher hasn't changed all that much. So you got Brett Anderson, Tommy Malone, Gerard Parker, Dan Straley, and A.J. Griffin round out their rotation. Got Grant Belfour. Still, to me, sounds like a hockey name, not a baseball name. This team, it doesn't sound like anything. It sounds almost identical to a Houston Astros roster, except this team has talent and can work together. I'm actually kind of excited to see what the A's are going to do as a baseball fan, not as an Angels fan, but as a baseball fan. Their opening series is actually up here in Seattle, April 1st. Then they go to Houston and then LA to face the Angels. So easily, those first 10 games, they could easily be 8-2, 7-3. Probably take 1 or 2 from the Angels. That they don't have that hard of a schedule, really. The only real tough games are, of course, the Angels, Rangers in division, Yankees, the Blue Jays, which the Blue Jays, that's going to be an extensive preview. I know that because of all the moves that they've done. But as far as the Oakland A's go, this is not a bad team. I'm legitimately scared as an Angels fan. Angels fans, I think, should be scared. This is about the only team I think they should be scared of this year. I don't think the Rangers will be as good. Mariners will be the Mariners. Astros are the cellar dwellers. It's going to be between the Angels and the A's. I think the Angels will get them by a few games, though. Thinking about going to opening day up here, actually. So if I do, that's April 1st. A's Mariners, I will do a live report from there. Maybe get a couple interviews with some fans. I don't know yet. We'll see how things go. Kind of a short show today. Like I said, topic of the day. Should we stop banning stuff like HGH or this IGF-1 and just allow it to be used? As long as everybody has the capability to it, there's no crying about an unfair advantage. What's your take on it? Find me on Facebook, facebook.com/Sanders Sports Show. Go ahead and like the page. Also, I will respond to anybody that comes on there as much as I can. On Twitter at SandersD84. We're on iTunes. Just search on iTunes, Sanders Sports Show. Leave me feedback right here on Spreaker.com. Or on YouTube. On my YouTube channel, it goes right to there. YouTube.com/SandersD84. Send me a message. Let me know what you think. Also, leave me feedback what you want to hear. I mean, I'm doing this not only for myself to learn. I'm doing it for any fans I have out there. And for the I misspoke yesterday. I thought it was 180 yesterday. It was 160 as of the show yesterday. It's up to 170 followers here on Spreaker now. Thank you for you guys. Spread the word. Approaching 350 listens for all my shows. Thank you for that. As well as my Facebook friends. Spread it to all your sports friends. Anyone who likes sports. Let me know what you want to hear. Let me know what you want me to talk about. I will devote a whole day to it. Coming up tomorrow, got the Seattle Mariners preview. Might be a little bit more in depth because I'm up here. Going to talk about probably more about the Ray Lewis saga, the IGF-1 saga. I'm sure there'll be more coming out between today and tomorrow. As well as see how the Lakers fared down in Phoenix tonight, as well as the rest of the NBA and NHL scores. Actually didn't get to my San Francisco offensive preview. Basically, San Francisco's offense is Colin Kaepernick. That's about it. If they're going to win, it's because of Kaepernick. I pretty much did all my research. I'm like, yeah, if they're going to win, it's going to be because of Kaepernick. That's pretty much it. Either his arm or his legs. That's why they're going to win. Still going to make my pick on Friday, my official pick. And I'll give you what I think the score will be. Got a couple of plugs. Yesterday was supposed to be the day Finalize This came on. My boy Joe 5 O'Clock Somewhere was out sick for a couple days. He's back better than ever today. Him and Anthony Perry on Finalize This. 4 o'clock Pacific time. Right here on Spreaker.com. Go like their page. Go like their Facebook page. Facebook.com/Finalize This. Also, any bowling fans, keep up to date with the PBA Tour, as well as get tips and tricks for your game. BowlingEvolved.com has all the answers you need, from the casual bowler to the hardcore pro. BowlingEvolved.com has what you need. Go check them out at BowlingEvolved.com. That'll about wrap it up here for the Sanders Sports Show for today. I will talk to you all tomorrow, and as always, be good humans. Bye-bye.